Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Eric with American Business Systems. It is a privilege to be with you this afternoon. You're really going to enjoy the webinar this afternoon with Patrick and me. We're going to be talking with you about how much you can actually earn in medical billing and as a medical billing companies. Let me introduce to you American Business Systems, then I'll get right over to Patrick Phillips, but ABS has been around for 25 years. It's amazing how when we first started 2019, we were all excited because, wow, we've made it to 25 years, but this year is practically over already. And so this time is going by quickly. And now is a great opportunity, again, to get started in your own business, whether it's the billing business that we're talking about today. Every entrepreneur should be looking at starting some type of business. I think it's a great market. I mean, I think the way things are right now, it's a great time for anybody to start a business. So here at American Business Systems, we want to certainly be a partner with you so that we can certainly help you out with that. Again, my name is Eric Ogea. I'm the Research and Development Director here at American Business Systems, and certainly thank you for joining us this afternoon. As we kind of go through this, you'll see that we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, so you can go check us out there in the Fort Worth Better Business Bureau. One extra thing that you could have this afternoon is the handout. So if you'll go over again to your control panel over there and look up underneath handouts. Some people asked in the past webinars, where can I get a copy of this slide? It's right over there. We've already got it printed out over there. So if you'd like to, go ahead and download it. And if you've got some time, go ahead and print it out and take some notes while you go through today's webinar. Let me introduce to you Patrick Phillips. He is our founder and CEO of American Business Systems. He and his wife, Linda, who my wife and I had the privilege of having dinner with the two of them last night. They actually started this business way longer than 25 years. So Patrick's got a great background in medical billing and obviously 25 years with American Business Systems. He is a best-selling author, got these books here, The New Thriving Medical Practice. If you've not gotten a hold of that, you can go find that actually on Amazon.com. How to Reprogram Yourself for Success with the foreword from Chad Helmsetter, a good friend of Patrick's there, that wrote the foreword to his book there. And the Cash Crunch to Cash Flow book. All three of these books can be found on Amazon. So please feel free to go find that out. And he's also a contributing writer for a billing and coding magazine. Now, so this is completely separate from American Business Systems. It's called the BC Advantage magazine. It comes out bi-monthly, so every other month it comes out. And many times he's asked to be a contributing author. So Patrick, let's get you on over here and let's start talking about some of this new activity that we have here. What is this online training? And I know you wanted to kind of kick off and introduce this this afternoon. Uh-oh, you're muted. Can't hear you.
Sorry.
There we go.
There's a big thing that pops up on my screen that says you're muted. I just missed it. Well, folks, we actually do training for, we have an entire course, an online course, but it's live. This is not recorded. This is not a webinar you watch or, some kind of recording. It's an actual live interactive session with one of our certified medical revenue trainers. This particular trainer that's doing a lot of the training right now is a lady who's been with us now for what, Eric, maybe 5 or 6 years she's been training with us. And we just decided, that's the future. Everybody likes to just sit at home, and not have to get out and get dressed and fight the traffic and or get on a plane and travel down to a hotel or something. So we just do it on live one-on-one now. So you have, 10, 12 hours one-on-one with your own instructor, so you get to ask all the questions you want to. It's great. It's just a really neat way to learn from somebody and yet be able to ask all the questions you want to.
Yeah, matter of fact, you get to actually apply a lot of the lessons that you're learning actually the next day. So instead of sitting here in that 5-day training class that we used to have and not apply anything until after you left the training, Cynthia and the other trainers that we have here, they're going to actually give you things to do, go do them, and then you come back and you get to talk about some of the things that you've done and applications. So we just think it's a great way and a new great way of us being able to extend this training out even to what we're able to do. And really, like you said, more around somebody's schedule there, Patrick.
Yeah. Now, having said that, Eric, we'll tell everybody at the end of this, folks, we don't do any selling on these webinars. We try to educate you on the business that we have which is helping doctors with their revenue. But there are limited seats that are available in the online training because we only have, a number of instructors that can do those trainings. And once those slots fill up, there's about 8 modules that you'll go through, each one an hour to an hour and a half. So it's very limited. So if you are interested, you've done your research, you've done some of the steps we'll cover here at the very end of this webinar as to what you should do to do your due diligence, then, just get your paperwork done and get it in here, and we'll book you within the first week. You'll be, on your first session.
You bet. And I know that even outside of this, you and I and Dr. Vicki Rackner, who you've interviewed, I think just the last week or so, there is some new marketing ways that we're teaching people to get right out of the gates, start relationships with office managers and doctors like we've never seen before. So the added online training with some of the things that we're doing with our current licensees, this is so exciting for what I'm seeing here, Patrick.
Yeah, now Eric just mentioned, some of you may be aware that I've written a couple of books with a doctor, Dr. Vicki Rackner. She's a retired general surgeon, been out there for 20 years in her own private practice, outsourced her billing, and she's written a book with me to help doctors understand why they should be outsourcing their billing as well. And so I'll show you a little bit more about that. I have that book live right here. Eric's showing you some of our books, but this one is called, here, I'll hold it up to the camera, those of you who are still paying attention, 10 Critical Questions for Physicians in Private Practice, and the single choice that can help your practice to prosper and grow.
You bet.
There it is. Yeah. My son, Adam, wrote the foreword to this book. It's almost a handbook. It's a little booklet, I would call it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 80 pages. Yeah. And on the back, you see, it tells about Dr. Vicki Rackner, as most books do. But right below that, look, there's a place there where we will actually print. I mean, literally, it's printed on the cover, your name, your company name, your logo, if you want it, your address, your email address, all of that can be printed right there on the book. It's a great marketing tool, isn't it?
You absolutely. There is no doubt about it. Well, let's get started here. There's some more people. Clay, you said good to be here. Good to see you. Kent, good afternoon. Got it. All right. So, folks, I say let's just get started here. We're going to be talking about, again, how much you can earn. Now, Patrick, I know we want to kind of preface this. These are potential earnings. Obviously we can't guarantee any particular earnings, but once someone does get a doctor, the numbers that we're going to be showing you are very, very real. So I just wanted to obviously have that little bit of disclaimer here that these are potential earnings that Patrick and I'll be talking with you about.
Yeah, and in fact, Eric, we get these figures that we're about to show you folks from our licensees that are actually out there running their business. So we're not making these up. These are numbers that they give to us.
You bet. So again, really, Patrick, everyone's biggest question is how can I earn back my investment? Everybody knows that the investment is right at $27,000, just right at, basically you call it 30,000, just under 30,000. So, what we're going to show you today is really how with just one doctor, you will actually within the first year earn back your investment. And Patrick, I don't know of any other business opportunity that's actually out there that could actually happen.
Well, I've actually done many, many interviews, folks, probably over 65, 70 interviews with some of our current business owners out there that have gone through the due diligence and signed up with us and gone through our training, and they've actually got their business started. And a lot of those people have told me, Eric, several of them, that they've gotten back their, return on their investment, that $27,000 licensing fee in the first 6 to 9 months.
Right.
Now, that's not true of everybody, of course. Depends on whether they're full-time or part-time. Some people put more effort into a business than others, but when you find even a handful of people that can say that, yes, I got my baby back in a very short period of time, very unusual, Eric. Like you said, most businesses nowadays are not out of the red ink into the black ink, so to speak, profitable within the first 2 years.
Right. There's no doubt. Absolutely. So what we're going to do is direct you back to our website. Our website is absystems.com. When you get to our website, you'll find right in the middle in that title bar area a link that's going to get you to what's called income potential. Again, what we're going to do is talk about your ROI, your return on investment potential. because that was the question that we want to sort of start off and kick out of the gates is how do I get my money back? If I'm going to invest 30,000, how do I get 30,000 back? And then again, start getting in the black. So we're going to utilize this calculator, Patrick, because it's the easiest thing for us to be able to do.
Yeah, the calculator we have right there on the website, folks. As you saw there under that, how much can I earn? You can actually fill in your own numbers here. Now, we have some numbers already in there, but Eric, why don't you explain what those numbers are and why those are there initially?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we want to show you, and we're actually going to show you the calculator here, but then we're going to pull back the curtain and see actually the math behind the calculations. So what we're looking at is one doctor. And what we also know from our licensees and from some of the research and development that we consistently do, even after 25 years, we pretty much still know that one doctor is going to see about an average number of patients each day, about 25. And Patrick, we both know that's always going to depend upon the specialty. You know, a chiropractor, they're going to see more patients than someone who's a specialist like a podiatrist. So what we do is take all that numbers and bring them all together, general practitioners, specialties, chiropractors, all averages out about 25 patients a day. Then they're open at least 5 days a week. Some will be open, obviously, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday a half a day, but still, it's kind of looking that out. Now, everybody wants to know how much potential charge am I going to charge the doctor percentage-wise? And the average, national average with all medical billing companies out there is about 6%. And then the average claim amount is right at 100. So everything that we're talking about are complete averages.
Yes, and again, let us emphasize, folks, that these are numbers that we get from our actual licensees that are running their business. And so that's why we plug these in. When you first go there, you'll see these numbers. But you might want more than one doctor. Hopefully you do, because there's thousands of them out there, right, in private practice. So you can plug in 5 doctors or 10 or whatever number you want there. Adjust those numbers any way you want to. But let me address that percentage just for a second, Eric, because there are people who are asking some questions here, I see, about the percentage. And that is all dependent on the type of doctor, the volume of claims that they have. And that's what our support is for. Once you become a licensee, we're here to support you and give you advice from our own experience dealing with licensees all over the country as to what maybe you could be charging that particular doctor. Some of them will want it to be a little less than 6%. Some of them don't care if it's 7 or 8% because, again, you're doing such a great job at collecting their money that it's just a percentage. That's all it is. In fact, if they do the math, they're spending a whole lot more than probably 7 or 8% of their revenue.
Yeah, and obviously, Patrick, I think if we've got time today, we're going to show a practice analysis and then the practice analysis report that already has the claim percentage already built in there. And it's not that we're trying to hide it, but what we're going to show the doctor is really how much more money they should be making, obviously, if they're using someone like an ABS licensee. So again, the numbers are important, but again, we're just using these numbers here to see what your potential revenue is, and obviously your return on investment. So if we click on the number right there, right where it says submit, I'm going to go ahead and click on that. You'll see that those numbers calculate to $39,000 a year with just one office.
Yeah, so remember, folks, I tell people, look, you know what you earn now on your current job. So this is for one doctor. If you had 2 doctors, it'd be twice that and so forth. So you do the math, you plug in the numbers, see what it is that you think that you could make in the business, and you can adjust and play with those all day long. And no matter what you do, you'll still be making probably a whole lot more per hour than you earn now on a regular job.
You bet. I mean, if you think about it, if you just did, again, a little bit of the math, that's about 20 more, that's a little over 20% of your investment, what you've actually made, that you're going to be getting back. So, your investment's at 27,000, but if you were to get one doctor, you're going to be at 39,000 in your first year return. So that's a 20 to 25% increase of your actual investment. So those that are thinking about investment plus what I'm going to be getting out of it, obviously that's a great number. And $3,200, Patrick, If someone's living small, it's so funny. I think you and I were, and Linda and Karen were talking about this last night. We were talking about people that are actually living in tiny houses now.
Yeah.
Patrick, there is no doubt if someone had that kind of mentality and could live in a tiny house, all we need is one doctor to live, and they're free to be able to do whatever they want to do. So even with just one doctor.
Well, and in today's world, I mean, $39,000 is really not that much. But folks, when you find out how little time you have to put in to earn that $39,000, you'll be surprised. And remember, Eric, I've interviewed people that say that they have 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 doctors.
Yes.
So you're not limited to anything in this business. It can be as big as you want.
So what we're going to do now, folks, is for those that are a little bit analytical and you want to kind of know how did we get to those numbers, that's what we're going to look at doing right now. So we've got this doctor here, and we pretty much know, again, that every doctor is going to see about 25 patients per day. So this is where we're going to really get into the numbers. So those, again, are very analytic, and you want to know where do we get these numbers and what is Eric and Patrick trying to hide behind these numbers. This is about as straightforward as we can make it. And one of the things I've loved about working with you, Patrick, is really the transparency that we've been as a company to be able to portray on every single webinar. There's no smoke, there's no mirrors. This is just basically simple math here.
Well, that's why we're willing to answer any questions, folks. You can type questions in the question box where you typed earlier your name or something, and you'll see that we address those questions on the webinar, as many of them as we can get to. Now, I see Yodit has asked several questions here. Yodit, we're going to refer you back to the person who sent you here to answer some of those questions, but one of them, Eric, is one that we're probably not going to have time today to address, and that's an important one. How do we get a doctor's office? In other words, how does he get a doctor to sign up with him? Folks, we're doing whole webinars on marketing to doctors and how we teach people exactly how we teach them to get doctors. There's probably a dozen different ways that we go through in our training, ways that we've proven over the last 25 years that actually work.
I mean, Patrick, what if we could tell people that one of our services is over 90% with the 90% accuracy, almost guaranteed to put you in front and have a discussion with an office manager? Would that be the only thing that people would want to know? There's no doubt that.
Believe me, Eric, when my wife and I started this back in the early 90s, believe me, if I had just known one way to get past that glass, that bulletproof glass inside of a doctor's office, past the glass, to be able to sit down and have some kind of discussion, anything with anybody in the office, I would have given a whole lot more than 27,000, believe me.
And you and I know we've got that secret.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we're seeing that actually happen very, very regularly, and about to see a whole bunch of licensees be able to do the same thing.
Yep.
But that's on the topic of getting into a doctor's office. So, but let's stick with the revenue. 25 patients a day. Again, taking those same numbers. Again, remember, each patient is valued. Again, you got to kind of think this whole thing out. A doctor sees a patient, but they also see what value is that patient. What's the cost on that patient? What am I going to earn on that one patient, seeing that patient for 10, 15, 20 minutes? Again, the average is about $100 per patient. So if you take that 25 times 100, well, Patrick, that's $2,500 a day for the doctor. And everybody's going to say, well, that's why that doctor's driving a Mercedes or whatever else they may be driving out there. Their overhead is very high.
Oh, yeah. They've got a lot of costs that people never even know about. Insurance alone behind the scenes, costs them several thousand a month. So there's a lot of cost. So it sounds like a lot of money, folks, but believe me, doctors are not making near what they used to make. This is very low on the scale. And
this is why we want you to be a part of what we're doing here, because even though that we're looking at 25 patients a day and $100, there's a lot of doctors that are not capturing all this money, and it's because of their software that they may be using or some of the other things. imagine this, that some doctors are not even collecting 60 to 70% of what they should be. We're going to teach you and show you how to get that number up to almost 100%, where the numbers that we're looking at today, the doctors are going to go, why would I not want to use you in the first place? So again, sticking with these numbers, $2,500 a day. Again, 6%, you're charging the doctor. You're doing the billing over here on the right-hand side. It's who you are. 6%. Your average earnings on that is $150 a day. Again, as Patrick mentioned earlier, basically for less than 90 minutes a day of billing.
Yeah, now break that down, folks, and see what you're earning per hour. That's an hour and a half work there to earn $150. Isn't it about $50 an hour?
It's a little bit more than that. It's almost $75 an hour, or a little bit more than that. So, folks, you can see that you can. Now, obviously, in the very beginning, as you're kind of learning, it may take you 2 hours, maybe even 3, but again, at $150 a day, that's not too shabby, even as a part-time work. A lot of people could be doing this as.
Now, remember, we have done surveys, and over the last 25 years, our history with all of our licensees have shown us that 6% is on the average. There are licensees who charge more, and there are licensees who charge less than that 6%. So we're just using an average here, folks. It's not unusual, though, for doctors to pay that to outsource their billing, because again, we can show them that they're spending probably closer to 20 to 30% of their revenue for having their own staff, keeping their own software up to date, codes, the IT support, and all the other things that are involved in doing it, inside their own office.
Yeah. I know that Yedit is going to ask some of those questions to the person that brought them there, but Lothar is asking, how do we, American Business Systems, avoid the licensees trampling over others at the same doctor's office, especially if they're already an ABS customer?
Yeah, so what Lothar is worried about is the fact that we do have licensees that have been out there for years, and they're all over the country, of course. But it's interesting. I was just talking to a licensee today, Eric, that said, Patrick, I've been in this, as you know, 8 years now. I have never run across another licensee anywhere in my area. And I happen to know that there are other licensees there. But what happens, folks, is licensees will get into this business, and they might sign up 2 or 3 doctors, and they're done. They don't want to build it any bigger than that. Maybe they're working only about 25, 30 hours a week. Doing those 3 doctors. They're thrilled with the money that they're bringing in for 3 doctors. We can see that from what we're talking about here, $39,000 per doctor. So they don't need any more than that, and they lack the lifestyle. And yet there are hundreds of doctors literally in any given area. We have lists of doctors, by the way. If you wanted to see a list of doctors, you can get back with the person who invited you to this webinar, and you'll find out, folks, that we know some numbers in every area of the country. It's not a secret. You can get this at your public library. The American Medical Association has all the doctors in the United States in a database that you can access there at your library.
You bet. Now, we're going to show you, again, Patrick just said 39,000. So let's, again, take that, and we're going to just multiply that out. So again, you'll see what we're talking about here. So again, your potential earnings, $150 a day times 5 days per week, $750 a week times 52 comes out to $39,000 a year. So folks, you can see that with one doctor working less than 2 hours a day, you're going to earn about $750 a week.
Now, Eric, there are people probably tuning out right now, at least mentally. They're probably over there watching cat videos on YouTube right now.
Right.
Because $39,000 is not something that I would get excited about. Most people looking into starting their own business expect that they're going to make, $100,000 a year. So, folks, hang on, because remember, we're going to do some projections here for you to show you how easy it is to get to that 6 figures.
Yeah, and folks, again, one of the things that we do here at ABS is, again, not explode the numbers, because really what we're wanting you to understand is that we feel like it's our job for us to build trust with you. If we just threw out, 6-figure incomes or 7-figure incomes, again, everybody's going, wait a minute, how are they getting that? We're just showing you the foundation of what you can build from. So now, as Patrick said, let's talk about 3 doctors. Now, again, here are 3 different types of doctors. It could just be a regular general practitioner. One in the middle could be a urologist or a podiatrist, and then you got surgeons out there that you can do billing for. Now, each of these are going to have different reimbursements, but again, instead of trying to get into all the different specialties and how much money each one of those can make, because remember, you're making a percentage of what they earn. So obviously, as you kind of go through this, if you got a general practitioner and then a specialty and then a surgeon, as you kind of move left or right, obviously on the right-hand side of the screen may be where you want to start looking into doing some specialty billing.
And Eric, by the way, folks, there are literally dozens, plural, dozens of different specialties that are out there. We have a whole list here that I may find that and show it here in a second, Eric, because people are surprised when they see how many specialties there are.
Yes, there are so many different specialties out there that, again, range from podiatry to urology to cardiology, obviously. Then you got your surgeons. You got your orthopedic surgeons. You've got your podiatry surgeons. You've got pain management doctors, kinesiologists. You just go through the entire list. If Patrick's got a list there, we can show you, but there really are all different specialties. So we go back to our website. We're only changing one number. Again, to keep it simple for everybody, we're changing one number, and that's the number of doctors. That's all we've changed. We're not going to try to complicate it, make any smoke and mirrors. We're changing one number, 3 doctors. Again, Patrick, there's your 6-figure income with 3 doctors.
Okay, so folks, what I'm showing you here, by the way, is 2 of the pages from what we call our Medical Revenue Management Research Guide. This is something that we're going to make available to you today in the handout section here. I haven't put it in there yet, but look, here it is, page 4. As you can see, how big is the medical billing industry? And there are some of the specialties that you can do billing for. But wait a minute, there's more. Look at this. Here's the second page. Some of these things, Eric, honestly, you could probably pick out 1 or 2 there that I don't even have any idea what those doctors do. But they're all doctors who bill on a standard form the government came up with years ago, and you can bill for them electronically through our cloud-based system by doing that. Okay, Eric, sorry about that. I'm going to give it right back to you, I think.
Let me see if I can grab it here. I think I got it back up over here on our side. Perfect. All right, so folks, again, we kind of did the 3 doctor deal, and again, immediately you can see that obviously it's 39,000 times 3. It's the same thing, but now that's $117,000. So there's your 6-figure income. Again, working just under 8 hours a day, if you think about it. And Patrick, that's nearly a $10,000 monthly income.
Right. And folks, again, we're trying to be conservative here. I do have licensees who bill not for 3 doctors, but for 30 doctors.
Yep.
And one of them that we know of, he hasn't given me the exact figure. I think he gets scared when I start asking him exactly how many clients he has, because he's probably got over 300 doctors.
Yeah.
So again, folks, you can keep this as small as you want to. There's no quotas. You don't have to have, well, you don't have to have even 1 doctor, I guess, if you didn't want to. But assuming you had at least 1 doctor, you can have as many as you want. And it's your business. You run it the way you want to. It's all your money to keep too.
That's correct, and because there's no franchise fees, there's no royalty fees if you're paying American Business Systems.
Right.
And again, if you're just thinking of these, imagine that you're working with specialties. Obviously, the reimbursements are going to be a little more than 100, might be $175 or $200. This could easily be $150,000 easily with 3 clients. So there's where most people can think of, I could probably live on that and be just comfortable and not have to hire anybody else.
Right. And some people want to keep this small, but Eric, as you know, we have licensees who've got a dozen employees, and they're working virtually, just like a lot of our staff members do. We're all over the country in different places. Eric's working out of his home office right now. I'm at my home office. So folks, you can run a 6-figure business nowadays if you have the right product or service. We just happen to be, if we're selling anything, Eric, it's money. to the
money.
doctor.
That's correct. You absolutely correct. We're selling the doctor their money. And if you keep it that simple, there's where you don't have to worry about that you're trying to sell software or even yourself. You're just selling the doctor the cash back. Again, what everybody on this call needs today is an audience with somebody. Patrick and I are coming up with, we actually come up with a way to get you in front of that office manager and their staff to start engaging with them within 10 to 14 days ourselves.
Oh,
so
exactly.
We're seeing yeah, so that's what everybody needs. Is that everybody wants are leads that they can work and start building relationships with. We've got that down. So we're at the bottom of the hour, Patrick. Let's see if there might be any more questions. Folks, feel free to ask any questions because we are going to kind of turn the webinar, not the topic, but we're going to kind of go in a little bit different direction to show you that this is just the beginning, because we've just been talking about billing. We have other services that will either A, get you in the door, or B, show you how to make more money on top of that. And we're going to kind of go through a few of those. And again, I'm looking at the question box. Nobody's asking any questions right now. Keep going, Patrick. We've got 9 services here.
Yeah, let's talk about these. We call these ancillary services because they are optional. You don't have to offer them to doctors if you don't want to. But folks, we actually were forced to come up with these other services by our licensees coming to us and saying, hey, the doctor says he's having problem with coding. He doesn't know how to code correctly. So we have one called Code Right that, again, is a service that you can offer to the doctor. We have certified medical coders who can help you and the doctor for a fee. You pass the fee on to the doctor. In fact, most of our licensees mark that up so they make money on these services. And we as a company make money on these services as well. So even though you never pay us anything, since we make a few pennies off of each one of these services, we have back-end income as a company as well. Eric, I honestly can tell people at this point that we would never have to sell another license ever again, and we still have income on the back end to cover all of our operating costs as a company. So it's a wonderful thing to know, folks, that even though there's no royalties or ongoing fees that you ever pay to ABS after that initial $27,000 licensing fee, that's it. You'll never pay another penny to us for support or service or training or anything.
You bet. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to take each one of these and we're going to assume that you have already started billing with 3 of those doctors. Each of those doctors could absolutely use each one of these that we're going to be talking to you about. Quick Collect is one of the services that will actually help a doctor help them collect on past due accounts. Nobody likes to really deal with accounts receivables. Obviously, doctors don't want to send their patients to a collection agency. Patrick, let's kind of talk about Quick Collect real quickly and really what this does.
Yeah, most people are surprised to find out, Eric, that the average doctor only collects 50% of the money that he's billed to patients. Now, think of any other business, Eric, that they write off 50% of that at the end of the year because they want a tax write-off. Doctors do that because they don't like to bug their patients. But what if we had an automated system that gently and systematically collected that money from the patients without putting any pressure on them? As we say right here, we bring in 3 times what a collection agency would normally collect for a doctor. And so the doctors are thrilled with it. The patients love it because it actually has a way of giving them a way to pay that out, that balance that they owe, and still keep their credit.
You bet. Ken's asking the question, on average, how many of these services are utilized? Ken, that's what I'm saying. They're utilized either A, as a door opener, a conversation, or it's going to be part of what you'll see here in a little bit, the practice analysis. It may not be discovered until then that these services are actually needed. Again,
Right.
Nobody likes to be sold. We're not trying to sell you. What we're trying to do is give you information. And you make the decision at that point. It's the same thing with the doctors. Imagine that you go to the doctor and you already know what you want the doctor to do. The doctor's going to say, you're a quack, get out of my office, go see somebody else, whatever. But if you go in there and the doctor says, Eric or Patrick, this is what I found, and here are the suggestions I think you need to do. You need to get this test done. You can get this test. You may or may not want that test. And we've all had our doctors tell us that. Doesn't mean, I mean, the doctor could throw us right into surgery, but the doctors don't do that.
Right.
It's the same thing with these ancillary services. We're not going to throw everything at them, just the ones that we discovered through the practice analysis they're going to need.
Yeah, good question, Kent. Here's one by Clay also. When calculating potential earnings, are most licensees working every single week of the year? Now, I think what Clay's getting to is, can I ever have a break? Can I go on vacation? And of course, being a part of the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies, Clay, we can actually help you with that. If you want to take off for a month, you're willing to do that. You can give up some of your income by helping, giving it to our network. We have licensees who would take over and do that billing for you while you're out of town. There's always a non-compete that they sign and so forth. So there's never been a problem with that. And the great thing is that you literally can make money while you're on vacation. But yes, I mean, assuming that you are running this as a real full-time business, Clay, you would work as many hours. I tell people, Eric, when you're in your own business, you can work as many hours as you want to.
Sure, and really, again, work from anywhere. Staying with those three doctors again, if each of those doctors need this service, and you're working with 24 patients or accounts a month that are needing some collections. Again, we're not blowing up the numbers here. We're not saying their all of their patients, but again, that could generate between those three doctors about $540 per month in residual income to you. Now, remember, that's just residual income. You're not having to do the billing. You set it up, you get that going, it starts to collect, that money comes in. That's $64.80 a year on top of the $17,000, which I'll add up here in just a moment. The doctors also.
Eric, I like to refer to this kind of money as mailbox money.
Right.
Because really, literally, you get a check each month and you didn't do much for it. I mean, it's an automated system, and yet you're still getting that check. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but Eric, that's $6,000 a year. That's a nice vacation somewhere.
It is. You bet. It could be just the vacation you want with one extra service that you have. But again, a lot of people are thinking about, man, I want to get out of this debt, or maybe I want to get my return on investment quicker. I want to start saving. I want to build up my retirement, do whatever you want to do. Folks, if you think about it, this whole medical billing business could be your retirement. Why would anybody ever want to stop working? I mean, even if you build it up where you had 20 or 30 clients, obviously you're going to have employees at that point. Just let this thing run like an oil well and just kind of keep that going there. So, this whole thing could be your whole retirement program. AutoCard is another ancillary service to help the doctor build their business. And again, it's to help them improve some of their cash flow, getting out mailers, getting out these things to remind customers to come in on a monthly basis for exams or annual well visits or women visits or, cleanings. This could even go into dentistry or whatever else you want to use. Again, just takes three doctors. They're sending out about 200 cards a month to their patient database. That's 600 cards a month. Out of that, you're making $600 a month. Again, that's $7,200 a year. And that can be split between just three other doctors. It may not be the three doctors that we started with, but again, we're kind of keeping with that same number here to kind of keep some things going here. iDocs Now, Patrick, this is one of the ones you like because, again, here at AVS, we don't have any filing cabinets.
No, there's no paper at all involved in our business, Eric, because everything is sent electronically. And if we do get paper, it's scanned in and stored in a secure, HIPAA-compliant, off-site document management system. Now, folks, this is not just a storage for files like Dropbox or iCloud or something like that. This is a document management system. That means that you can search these documents by any word that's in the document. Yes, every word is scanned in and OCR, they call it, optical character recognition, which means the computer can find any document with any word in it. So you can't lose anything. It's a wonderful system. Every doctor needs this, Eric, and every business that's out there actually needs this service. So you can market this even outside the medical field.
Yep. So again, if you have three clients, three doctors, whatever you want to do, and they're on the service, again, you as a licensee, you're going to collect about $100 per month on those three. So again, That's $300 a month between those 3 doctors. That's $3,600 a year. And again, all you've done is setting up a service. So again, kind of getting back to Kent's question there. I love the question, how many of these are actually being utilized? Every one of these are being utilized with different doctors for different reasons, for different services. Again, we're just trying to show you, again, some of the potential money that's out there with that. Now, these next 2 have to deal with coding. And I know, Patrick, everybody usually on our webinars always asking about, I think I can do this medical billing thing, but I don't know if I can do these medical codes. What do I do? Do I have to know medical codes? Do you want to answer that through AutoGuard?
Yeah, the answer is no. No, you do not need to know about medical codes. Now, does it help to know some of the terminology? Yes, we cover that in our training. But as far as all the codes, folks, there are people who take courses. Eric, there's college courses on how to do medical coding, because if I could show you the book, it's a great big huge thick book that that have all the codes in there. There's thousands of them. Codes for the procedures that the doctor performs on the patient, as well as the actual diagnosis codes. So altogether, Eric, I think it's up to 18, 20,000 codes.
Oh, yeah.
If you had to know about those, it would not be a fun business to be in, folks. So the nice thing is that our cloud-based system actually has all the codes built into the system. And the great thing about AuditGuard, we have these certified medical coders who can actually take some of the files from the doctor. You gather these patient files, scan them into our HIPAA compliant system, and they will review those and help the doctor to avoid the fines that they could be fined by Medicare for having over-coded. Now, what I mean is, if the doctor sees a patient for 10 minutes and he codes it as if he saw the patient for 30 minutes, for example, that's a much higher fee. Right. And of course, that means that he's collecting money that he did not earn, and they can catch a doctor on that and fine them $10,000 for every infraction, Eric.
Yep, absolutely. So with that, I mean, if you go through an audit, and a doctor should be going through what we call a coding compliancy audit every year. And the reason is because, again, these codes change every year. So just be thinking in your head, again, kind of playing off what Kent's asking, should these be utilized? This one very specifically, because again, just like what we're going to see with some HIPAA stuff, there's HIPAA compliancy issues that the doctors need to go through on a yearly basis, and there are coding compliances that the doctors should be going through every year, again, to make sure that they're not overcoding or undercoding. So again, this is a pretty easy one. You're just going to select 50 charts from the doctor, and you when the review happens, that is $900. You break that down again, that comes out to you about $10,800 a year in extra revenue on those reviews. So again, that's decent money right there just on reviews. And then we've already kind of, got you to the point where, do I need coding? And this is for everyday coding. So you've got AuditGuard that does the auditing. You got CodeRight that makes sure that that gets managed on a regular basis. Again, this can bring in money. 3 doctors that are reviewing 400 charts a month. Remember that we're at one doctor seeing 25 patients a day, so we're not talking every single patient. So there's some, you can see there's a lot of ceiling room, headroom there that you can do many more charts than just 400 between those doctors. Again, another $7,200.
Rashman asked the question, well, who needs medical coding knowledge then? And that's a good question.
Yes.
If all the codes are built in, and we have certified medical coders who can help you with specific instances and reviews like this, why would you need to know those codes? That's just it, folks. You don't need to know. I've interviewed, again, dozens of licensees that tell us on the interview, I didn't know a thing about medical coding, and still don't. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's right. So folks, again, we're showing you all the money. Obviously, maybe not all 3 doctors can be doing this. So again, you could average with 3 doctors anywhere from $117,000 to $152,000 a year with these added services. Some of these services may have gotten you into the doctor's office to actually get that 117. So Patrick, again, there's plenty of money to be made in medical billing.
Yeah, I mentioned a six-figure revenue. Of course, 152,000 is a six-figure still. But what about seven figures? Well, just do the math that are right there on the screen, folks. This is working with three doctors. Well, what if you had four doctors? Just do the math there, and you'll see that it could get to a seven-figure income. Now,
Yeah.
does everybody do that? Again, folks, no. We're trying to be honest with you. All we know to do is to show you what we've gotten from licensees that are actually out there doing this, the kind of money that they're making, and pass that along to you. You have to decide whether you should cut that in half. Maybe Eric is, blowing out the figures out of his ear. He may just be making those up as he goes. But you can still cut that one in half, and still it's a pretty decent annual income.
You bet. Folks, we've got about, as my clock is showing you, about 12 more minutes here. So we're going to take you through a few more. There's a lot of questions that come in, so we're going to make sure we try to get as many of those questions answered within the next 12 minutes or so. But Patrick, we're going to ask this question and kind of go down this path, because obviously, if I were on the webinar, I'd be asking, doesn't a doctor already have a biller?
Yeah, and of course the answer is yes, a lot of doctors do. In fact, we found nationwide about half the doctors already have billers inside their own office, but some of them have already decided to outsource it because they know it's cheaper and more efficient to do it that way. So what if they already have billers? Well, our licensees are signing up doctors every day, Eric, so for some reason we have something that the doctor wants that they don't have now, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good question. Why will a doctor even outsource to me? Eric, could we show a little quick video to people of doctors telling why they've outsourced their billing?
On a day-to-day basis, practicing, I have a ton of paperwork. I have charts that have office notes from patients I see. I have follow-up lab reports, test reports. So a lot of time is spent not only seeing patients, but doing the paperwork that goes along with that. So probably for every, hour I see patients, I'm spending at least 30 minutes worth of paperwork.
The complications of trying to do your own billing are greater than anything we do in medicine. It seems like with over 30 different insurance companies that we probably bill from, not even including our uninsured patients, there's absolutely no way. You don't have a chance.
And then when you submit a claim, it has to be a clean claim for them to even consider it. And you have to do it within 90 days. Doing my own billing was horribly tedious and very time-consuming.
To combat the problem, many medical practices and healthcare facilities are seeking help by outsourcing medical billing.
When medical providers outsource their billing, it makes them and their staff, of course, more efficient. It frees up their time so they can spend more quality time with their patients. And of course, it increases their cash flow, which is what it's all about. And for the patients, of course, the patients are getting to spend more quality time with the doctor and the staff, because the doctor and the staff are not having to spend all that time filing the insurance claims and doing the paperwork up front.
We have, as physicians, so many things to worry about. We have to be good business people. We have to be good patient advocates. We have so much on our plate. I go home and I do not worry about this, the most important aspect of our lives. We can't be good physicians unless we're financially solvent. At this day and age, with the complexities of the insurance companies, I can't imagine doing it any other way at this point.
The process for the Medicare billing is, with the electronic claims, is very difficult unless you outsource, because to do that in your office takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money to buy the software to do the electronic claims. So you pretty much have to outsource to save yourself money, basically.
From a billing standpoint, I have outsourced my billing. This allows me to not have to provide the overhead of an individual that I would have to pay to do my coding, do my billing, make sure that we're compliant with all of the regulations for Medicare and the other health insurance companies.
We've all been in this business for a while. We've all had our ups and downs with different billers. Finding a different biller, as we say, is like finding a good physician.
When you outsource your billing, you have to choose a company where you can track what's happening with each and every account. The billing company I use has the ability for me to check this online 24/7 at my convenience.
The person that we outsource our billing to has a wonderful online system, so we can check on claims, we can update patient information, we can input information into that, so that has made it very good.
None of us physicians ever feel comfortable with the follow-up if anybody's not paying or unable to pay, but it's still part of fact of life, and that's what they do. They can go after it. They can make any kind of suggestions as far as payments over months, X, Y, and Z. And it just takes me away from that and lets me again concentrate on either doing the business of medicine or further educations or just having free time.
When I outsourced my billing, I was able to give my headache to them and deal with the insurance company when they deny. Why did they deny? What is it that we need to correct? It doesn't have to be my personal headache.
Our focus is to do medicine, not billing.
A good physician has to be a good businessman. A good businessman has to decide, when to delegate responsibilities.
Outsourcing has allowed me to get better reimbursement on my claims because I have a whole billing company behind me to check things and take care of that.
Outsourcing has allowed me to spend more time taking care of patients while not worrying about the headaches that are involved with billing and the regulations that go with it.
Well, Patrick, we have about 5 more minutes left. Let's kind of get to the, I know that we had some other slides that we want to deal with there. Let me get to close towards the end, and let's kind of start talking about what people's next steps are. If you want to get into that, and then we can go ahead and start talking about going over some of the questions here that we want to kind of wrap up with. So,
Okay.
Folks, we want to talk about what your next steps are. You want to kind of talk through this real quickly?
Yeah, we have people all the time asking about what is it that I need to do to move forward with you if I'm interested. Now, this is assuming that you've done some of your own research. Maybe you've been to a few of these webinars and you know what you want to do. Folks, here's the best way to get started. These are our 3 representatives here at our offices that sent you the email to come to this webinar. It's one of these 3 men that you see right here. So you just pick the one that you think you've been working with there, look at the email, and there's their email addresses right below it. Hey, by the way, we've put a printout of this entire slideshow in the handout section. I think it's in there, isn't it, Eric? Yeah, it's there.
Absolutely. It's
okay.
over.
So you can just go get that right now, and you'll be able to see those email addresses that we just had on the screen. Now, here are the steps by step, though. Let me just cover them real quickly. Number 1, there's a thing called the research guide. We want you to look at that one very carefully. And Eric, I have that here on my desk. I'm going to throw that right now in the handouts there. That way they'll have that one as well. So let me get that back on the screen here and put that in there right now. It's uploading. You can download that as well. The research guide, I showed you those 2 pages from earlier with the specialties. Then browse YouTube. Be sure and go to our YouTube channel. Look, it's right here, youtube.com/YABS. Oh, they can't see my arrow there, can they? Well, anyway, the point is, it's that second step that you see there. And you'll see lots and lots of webinars, previous webinars, some of those interviews that I mentioned. Then be sure and ask your ABS rep for an owner reference list. Yes, we have licensees who've been through our training and have started their own business, and they're willing to take a phone call from you and talk to you. Hey, that should prove to any of you that nobody in our network is worried about competition. There's too many doctors out there to worry about that. Then be sure and ask your ABS rep for a live demo. That's right. We will get online with you. Look, ours is a cloud-based system, so we don't have a CD that we can send to you in the mail. You can just ask us for a live demo, and we'll get on a go-to meeting just like this, and one-on-one we'll go through that and show you that software live and ask you all the questions you want. And then finally, of course, review the purchase agreement and the funding instructions. Again, your ABS rep can give that to you. So there you go. That's your next steps.
That's what your next steps are. And then again, all the training is going to be online. So there's no really any reason you have to arrange travel or specifically time off. We can get you started again as quickly as you want to. Now, Patrick, again, you want to go over the money back guarantee, and then we'll talk about some of these last minute questions that we've come up with here with.
Yeah, let me talk about this just for a second because folks, people find it hard to believe that we offer that you are allowed to go through our training, all 8 modules, all 10 to 12, 15 hours, whatever it comes out to for you. For any reason, if you don't think this business is right for you, you just let us know and we'll arrange for you to receive a full refund of your license fee. Now, has that been done, Eric? Yeah.
Yep.
We've refunded some money. Over the last 25 years, folks, it's literally a handful of people. But if that's what they think, look, we don't want your money. If you don't think this is the right business for you and you're not going to do anything with it, why would we want your money? So we give you that to give you the feeling. Again, no other company that I know of, Eric, does this. But we know what we have to offer, and we know it's that exciting for people. And by the time they've gone through our training, they're pretty pumped up about it and go out there and start their business with no problems whatsoever.
You bet. Well, Patrick, I mean, it's 30 seconds before. I mean, we've put in a lot here. Let's just see if there's any particular questions that we can get to. I know that, let's see, we've got Cosimo is asking, does the UBO4 doctor pose a problem for your system? Well, UBO4 billing, again, is what's called institutional billing. Institutional billing is obviously for the room, the stay, and all the information that goes with a hospital. So a surgeon typically is not necessarily employed by the hospital. So they're going to be on the other form instead of the UBO4 forms. So again, the CMS 1500 form, that's the one they're going to be on. So we don't do hospital billing, but we can do surgeons and do their billing. So hopefully that helped answer your question there. Patrick, you still there?
If you think you can go out and sign up a hospital, believe me, hospitals they've got millions of dollars invested in their billing. The software, the system, the IT, the computers, and the personnel. So it's not something that you would want to go after. Believe me, there are companies out there who've told people in the past, oh yeah, you can do hospital billing through our system. That's not your marketplace. Look, there are so many private practice doctors out there, you could never get to all of them. I tell people, Eric, once you've signed up all of those doctors, then you might think about hospital billing.
There you go. Yeah. Let's see. Lena is asking, does the territories have to be where you live? I'm in Ohio. I'm just going to answer the question. No, your territory is not your zip code and it's not where you live. It's the entire United States. So wherever you want to market to, feel free.
Yeah. Folks, every doctor in every state in the United States can utilize your services. There are no restrictions between states because all doctors are using the same basic Medicare form to do their billing now. So you just take it over and do it electronically for them.
You bet. Absolutely. I think that was really the last questions there. Yes, you answered my question. Perfect. Patrick, yeah. That's it. I mean, what a great webinar we were able to put on. I think the video was great. So thanks for adding that into the webinar today.
Eric, thanks for putting this together. Great webinar. See you next week at the same time, same place.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.